Hello and welcome to the next video of the Reloadly gift card series. My name is Junaid Maqsood and let's get right into it. So right now I'm at the Reloadly gift card API reference documentation, and in the last video we were checking out the products. So we saw what the different products are available, how we can retrieve the products, and how we can filter through the different products. In this video, we are focusing on the redeem instructions, so where we can find the redeem instructions for the gift card product and how we can communicate that to our customers. So basically, there are two different ways to fetch the redeem instructions. So the first one is for every product that we got from the products API. So if we check the response of the products endpoint, there is a redeem instructions object. There it is. So that is returned for each product, and it tells us a concise summary of how the user can redeem this coupon. And there is also our boss description of in detail what the terms are and how the user can redeem the coupon code that will be generated. So that is one way. We can also fetch the redeem instructions. There is a separate API request. So the endpoint is /redeem.-instructions. And this gives us a response of all the brands and their redeem instructions. We can also fetch the redeem instructions by a product ID. So the endpoint is product/product ID and then /redeem-instructions. So that will give us the redeem instructions for a particular product. So let me just jump into Postman and we can play with these endpoints and see what the response of these look like. So right now I'm at Postman. Let me just send the API request to the products endpoint first. So this is what we saw in the last video. So we were getting all the products in content, and as this was a paginated API, we were getting a pageable object as well. And if we try to go into a particular product to see the response, we will see that there is a redeem instructions object for each product, and there is a concise summary. So to start watching, go to netflix.com and enter the code, and there is also a complete description of how we can redeem this. So for each different product, there are different redeem instructions based on what that product is and how it can be redeemed. So that is one way to get the redeem instructions. So the other way to get the redeem instruction is making the API request to redeem-instructions endpoint. So that endpoint returns an array for each brand, and for each brand we have the concise and the verbose redeem instructions available. So we can use this, we can populate our database for each brand, the redeem instructions, and then based on what the brand was for the product that the customer is ordering, we can show the redeem instructions. Another way is to get the redeem instructions for a particular product. So let me just go back to the products endpoint, and let's say I want to fetch the redeem instruction for this product. I'll copy the product ID. So the endpoint for that is /product/product ID/redeem-instructions, and that will give us the redeem instruction just for that particular product. So these are the three ways that we can fetch the redeem instructions. One is via directly on each product we have the redeem instructions, and the other way is we have two API endpoints to get the redeem instruction for all the brands or to get a redeem instruction for a particular product. So next I'll jump into the code editor and we'll play with these endpoints and populate our database and see how in a real world example we'll use this to get the redeem instructions and show those to the customer. So currently I'm in the code editor. So we were already building this project. I'm going to show you how we can integrate redeem instructions in the current project just as an example so that you can use this information to integrate it in your own projects. So right now how I've structured the project is it's exactly the same as we left off in the last video. So we already had a brands model, and the project was connected to our MongoDB database, and we were syncing brands, categories, countries, and products. So if I go into the brand, we have some information already being synced. So what I want to do firstly is I want to sync the redeem instructions on this brand object. So how I can do this is we already have an API. So if I go back to the documentation, we have this get redeem instructions that is running the redeem instructions for each brand. So I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go in our brand model. I'm going to create a new function. So let's just copy the sync brands, and we will call this one sync brand redeem instructions. So we're syncing redeem instructions, and the endpoint is redeem-instructions. So that is correct. And the ID, let's see, so we get the ID for the brand as brand ID. So let's get the brand ID if that brand ID is available. So we only care about the ID as we already have the name synced. So for the brand object, we have the ID, and here I want to add the concise redeem instructions and the verbose redeem instructions. Just want to make sure the spellings are correct. Okay, and I just want to update. I don't want to insert. And that is correct. And okay, so we execute. And that should do it. So now I've created this function. Let's export this function. And we already have a syncing mechanism. So I'm going to go in our server file. I'm going to include that function. And then right after the brand sync, where is it? I'm going to sync the redeem instructions. Autocomplete does it. Okay, so just to summarize, we have this brands collection, and if I refresh, that brand collection has multiple brands, and for each brand we have some brand information. And if we start the project now, let's wait for it to sync. Sync has started, so we have synced the categories, countries, brands, and we've synced the brand redeem instructions. So if we go back and refresh, we should have the redeem instructions for each brand as well. And there we go. We have the redeem instructions added to each brand now. So this will be one way of doing it. So we can add the redeem instructions to each brand, and the brand is associated to a product. So for each product, we have a brand ID that is being returned by the API, and we can link this and get the redeem instructions for the brand. The other way, we already have done it. So when we sync the products, we already sync the redeem instructions for this product. So that is another one way to do it. The last one I'm going to show you via the API. So directly we'll create an endpoint for a particular product. That endpoint will take the product ID and it will use the Reload API on the go and fetch the latest redeem instructions. So let's do that one now. I'm going to close the project. Let's clear this. And I'm going to create a new API endpoint. I will call it router.get instructions. We will call it product redeem instructions. And what we'll do is we'll get the product ID in the request query, and we will do the call on products slash product ID. Let's just change the double quotes, and we'll get the redeem instructions. So let's try it this way. Start, and I'll open localhost 3000 slash API slash redeem instructions product. So that's the name of the parameter, product ID, and I'm just going to pass in any product ID. So let's do this one. And there we go. So the product was indeed Netflix for Spain. So we got Netflix Spain, and then we have the redeem instructions. So we can use these to show to our user how they can redeem. So we can customize the response, and we say we only need the verbose. And there we go. So now in order to redeem this product, we have the exact redeem instruction. So that was it for this video. We saw how easy it was to get the redeem instructions for any product, how are there different ways we can get the redeem instructions, and how we can easily add that information in our own database to serve our customers. So in the next video, we'll see how the pricing works, what are the fees associated with it, what discounts we have on our catalog, and what are the different denomination types that are available and how you can use that information to show the products. So see you in the next one.